All right, we are back here on the podcast talking some Hard Knocks football. Hard Knocks Los Angeles premiered on Tuesday, August 11th. First episode of the books covering the Los Angeles Rams and the Los Angeles Chargers. Joining today, somebody we have not talked to since April during the NFL draft to break it down, the premiere of Hard Knocks LA, the great Joe Daloisio. Joe, welcome back. How are you?
Mike, it's been way too long, and you're far too kind. I am not the great. Please don't put me on a pedestal already.
Okay, I won't put you on a pedestal if you don't want.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, so we watched the premiere last night. I gotta say, after going so long, it's been a while since I've talked about football on this podcast. It did get me fired up for the start of the season, assuming we get there.
Oh, without a doubt, exactly. And as you just said, assuming we get there, which I think we will, but you never know. Things are changing on a daily basis, on an hour-to-hour basis. We've seen what just happened to college football, so I'm sure many people, many NFL fans are kind of concerned. But then again, you also do have some conferences that are going to play. So I think the NFL, as of right now, they are putting together all the proper protocols and procedures into place, and we certainly got a glimpse of what they're doing in that first episode of Hard Knocks. But, your intro music, the intro song to Hard Knocks, I mean, if that doesn't get you juiced up, if that doesn't make you feel like football's right around the corner, some sort of normality here in what has been the strangest year ever, at least in my life, I think you could agree with that too. You got a good sense of the future. You got a good sense that football is almost here.
Yeah, indeed. And I agree with you that the NFL is going to get to the starting lines because they have so much more financial resources than college, and they have the ability to test players every day, limit the spread, invest more in safety protocols than college can. I think that's their big advantage. I think that we'll get to opening day. We'll be there on September 10th watching Chiefs-Texans. What goes from beyond there? Any question? Still wide open.
Correct. And I totally agree with you. I mean, they have the money. They have the resources. The other thing that they have, I mean, they are paying these guys this is their livelihood. Whereas, if you want to get into that debate with the college athletes, they get free room and board and free education, but, it's a very gray area when it comes to college athletics compared to obviously a professional sports league. And we've seen the professional sports leagues, and we've seen what could happen. And we've also seen, some successful stories. I mean, look at, MLS got off to a shaky start. They figured it out. Basketball, they figured it out. NHL, they figured it out. Outside of a couple teams in Major League Baseball, they figured it out for now. But time will tell.
Time will tell, indeed. And let's get into the episode of Hard Knocks. The first time that they've ever decided to focus on more than one team, focusing on both LA teams. I think they had this whole grand design when they came up. It was like, well, we're going to have them going to the stadium the first time, like playing all these preseason games. I think, honestly, not having the preseason stuff is going to help this show out a lot better, give them more time to actually focus on the people involved with these teams.
I think you're going to get an even a bigger sense of behind the scenes, right? You think of all the other seasons of Hard Knocks, and you have the game film and the breakdown. I think you're going to learn a lot more about these players. You're going to learn a lot more about their families. You're going to see learn about players that you wouldn't have the opportunity to learn about without those preseason games. So I think, behind the scenes, they've already probably plotted, all right, we're going to focus one episode on Joey Bosa. We're going to focus another one on Jared Goff. There's going to be a lot more feature-esque pieces within each episode.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think, honestly, it's like, I think the McVay thing got me more excited about the Rams. We've seen them on as recently. I'm more into the Chargers, though, because this is a team we don't really get behind the scenes of too much. I'm very intrigued to see how they operate.
Oh, without a doubt. And Anthony Lynn, right off the bat, I mean, if that speech didn't get you fired up, then there's probably nothing in life that's going to get you fired up. I mean, he really set the tone. I thought it was really cool and unique how it was in a Zoom setting. And one thing that I like, because, I mean, Zoom has been the way that we all communicate, basically, on a everyday basis since March. But I like the fact that when he opened it up to questions, that the camera crew pretty much and the editing crew decided to highlight some questions, and what that felt real to me, because even now, right? Everyone has so many questions. There's so many questions that people want answers to that, even Anthony Lynn at that point was like, hey, I'm going to do my best to answer whatever I can and point you guys in the right direction.
Yeah, that's true. And speaking of that great Anthony Lynn speech, I did pull some of it from the episode. I want to play it again because I feel like every year they have like a great intro stinger and get you right into the theme music for the first time. Last year it was John Gruden's great speech when he's going insane in the meeting room with the Raiders. This one's a different approach, but I did like this. Let's listen to a little bit of Anthony Lynn talking to the Chargers.
This year is not like any year we've had in the National Football League. There's going to be chaos, and it's going to be change, and it's going to come every single day. The goals, the objectives will not change. I can't promise you you're not going to get infected. I'm telling you, I got infected. I've talked to some people that say they're sick of this virus. I'm like, what the hell is that supposed to mean? Let me tell you something. You ain't promised next year. You ain't promised tomorrow. What I want to do is I want to limit your exposures. But then when that damn whistle blow, let's go kick somebody's ass and play some football. One team will do this better than the other 31. Trust me. It might as well be us. So be ready for chaos. Embrace it. Embrace it. Because if we're going to play, the team that handled this thing the best now is going to have the best chance of winning that trophy.
I don't know about you, but the music score coming in right after he reveals to the team that he actually had COVID was perfect. It gets you really honed in on the moment. The music creeping on in the background as the speech is going on. Really great stuff.
Perfect timing. I mean, it doesn't get better than that. And I think his main theme there is hey, stuff's gonna happen, right? Yeah. And we got to be ready for that stuff. But at the end of the day, everyone has one goal, and that's to win a Super Bowl. So that I think that message was super, super clear. And he wasn't saying, or he wasn't trying to tell his team, hey, ignore what's going on. Hey, it's out there. It's not leaving. But we got to also focus on the job that we have to do. And that's really the reality of going back to work, right? So many people are now back in their offices. They haven't been in their offices since March, right? And the reality is, this thing is still here, but we got to get to work. All right, we got to try to get back on a routine.
Yeah, especially football players, a creature of habit. They have their routines, and now they're adjusting to new normal, such as what we saw in the episode, which I was surprised. I went into so much detail about the COVID testing, and we saw so many different players get COVID tested. And Peter Schrager pointed out on the Hard Knocks podcast, this is the first time the leagues actually let COVID testing be shown on screen, and none of the other leagues have done that. So very interesting to see the firsthand experience of that.
Correct. And the other thing that I enjoyed the most about that is then it hit home, right? It hit home. So many of us have been tested. For those of us who weren't tested, it kind of gave us a glimpse of what it may be like. And the best part of watching that was, and I thought it was pretty ironic, right? You have NFL players that put their bodies on the line every single week, right? And you got guys that are nervous or getting bent out of shape because of this test, right? Because of what they've heard, or maybe they've been tested before. And, these guys are made out to be gladiators, right? Yeah, they get injured here and there, but their goal is to crush the opponent, basically, right? They want to win. They want to knock guys out. They want to hit them as hard as they can. And now here they are trying to get their COVID test or get blood drawn, and they're a little scared. When Aaron Donald's getting his blood drawn and he's like, yeah, I don't like needles, that completely threw me off.
Oh, 100%. The other thing this episode made point of hammering home a lot was the whole mask thing, culminating with the Sean McVay trying to find a workaround where he gets the face shield. He eventually gets told he can't use the face shield. Though his bit when he has the meeting with the face shield on, and he's talking about writing the play on the face shield and squeegeeing it off. That was actually pretty funny, that whole sequence.
No, that was great. And I'll be honest, I like the face shield more than the mask.
Yeah.
If I had the option, I'd go face shield, no mask, kind of like McVay.
Yeah.
But, that he did a great job of trying to, obviously add some humor to it. Oh, here's the shield. Maybe let me see if I could draw up some plays on it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. He absolutely did. And I do think the other thing I'm curious about with Sean McVay is obviously you and I had fun back in April during the draft. We saw inside a lot of these people's houses, the coaches and the GMs. Give me the rating on the Sean McVay's place on the scale of Belichick to Kingsbury. Where is he?
Oh, Kingsbury. I mean, it must be like a McVay descent thing.
Yeah.
Like if you were part of the McVay circle of life, you gotta have an awesome house. So like as a Packer fan, I'm thinking like, all right, Matt LaFleur must have like a crazy house too, and if he doesn't, I'd be pretty disappointed.
Yeah.
Because I mean, Cliff's was like bachelor level, but the view that McVay had, like McVay's house was more of a, all right, I'm a settled down man. I'm about to get married. Like Cliff's just looked like he throws parties there every weekend. Got the sense that difference.
Yeah, you definitely could sense that difference. I mean, I feel like Sean McVay, I give him mad props of the outdoor like fireplace like he had like right around his patio. That was pretty cool. And the epic pool and the scene where he's playing basketball with his dog, I think was fun.
Mike, let me put it to you this way: if Sean McVay said I could come over, but I have to sleep outside right by that fire pit, I'd do it in a heartbeat.
Oh, me too.
I mean, that view was insane.
Yeah, it's literally insanity, that pad. And speaking of insane, the other thing that caught my eye during this was the whole saga of Jalen Ramsey's contract. Former Jaguar gets traded to the Rams last year. Now he's trying to play for the deal. The sequence when he's talking to all the reporters on Zoom, he's getting frustrated. They keep asking him over and over and over again about his contract. I just thought that was very interesting and very real.
Yeah, again, that's a great job with Hard Knocks, capturing that and getting a little bit more behind the scenes. But I'm going to be honest, like Jalen Ramsey, not my favorite guy, right? Not my favorite guy. But I kind of gained a little respect for Ramsey during that scene. Because he was as honest as could be. Like, hey, he's not giving you the answer you want. He realizes that. But he's also not going to just say something so that he could get destroyed in the media. I kind of feel for Ramsey. He could have just not answered anything and walked out. He was honest about it. Yeah, he was short, but there's no reason to continue pushing it. I like the fact that he came back and he said it too. Like, hey, I answered your question. I'm sorry it's not the way that you want it, but that's as far as I'm going to go with this.
Yeah, 100%. And I think it was clever editing of the show to have basically him going through the whole thing where they were trying to probe him about his contract. We go to the charge and Joey Bosa's going to get a contract extension, which I think is very fun.
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah.
But, I mean, at the same time, with Joey Bosa's contract, I mean, that's a guy that they drafted. That's a guy that, has earned every penny. Not that Jalen Ramsey hasn't, but, a lot easier to lock up a guy that's been there since day one rather than a guy that you just traded for. With that being said, though, the Rams gave up so much to get Jalen Ramsey, that contract is coming.
Oh, yeah. It's a matter of when he gets signed, not a matter of if he gets signed. And especially
correct.
The problem with them is just they've spent so much on capital, on draft picks, and bad contracts. They're in a lot of trouble people don't realize.
Oh, without a doubt. But for to think, are they really not going to sign this guy? I mean, that's just ridiculous. But again, look at the draft capital that they gave up just to bring him in.
Yeah, for sure. The other thing, probably also I think that intrigued me a lot was the Zoom discussion. I forget which team it was that was talking about the kneeling for the anthem and Black Lives Matter. I thought, especially in this current climate and what the world has been going through the past few months, I thought that was very timely and very interesting to hear their perspectives on it.
Yeah, between that conversation, the COVID setup, seeing everyone with masks, seeing the benches being sanitized, the equipment being sanitized, the continuous, coaching saying hey, not only do you guys have to be better, I have to be better when it comes to putting on the mask and having the mask on. I mean, that's what society is right now. That's what we're all going through, right? So the fact that Hard Knocks is able to capture all of what we are going through, the everyday Joe is going through, I think it really hit home for everyone.
Yeah, it really did. The whole episode, I sitting there watching, I'm like, I want more of this. I can't wait for next week because I think it's going to be so much fun to see, where they go from here, especially how, week 2, this is a typical week 1 episode where they basically show you behind the scenes of the team. But, week 2, there's no preseason games, so I'm excited to see what kind of stuff we're going to get we ordinarily wouldn't get.
Yeah, I think Hard Knocks was smart, and HBO was smart deciding to do 2 teams specifically in the same city. That's the only way something like this would work, especially under the current circumstances. But with that being said, I think the thought process behind it was things are changing on an everyday basis, right? So let's just say, for example, that they chose the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah.
But an outbreak occurred. They'd have to shut it all down. Then what do you do? Whereas, yeah, could a breakout happen amongst both the Chargers and the Rams? Yeah, of course. But they're playing their cards saying, all right, in the event that one has to get shut down, we have everything into place, everyone in place. Here, we could still make this happen and still provide a little bit on what's going on, with the Rams because they've been shut down, or the Chargers because they've been shut down. So I think it's really an interesting dynamic, and it works really well.
Yeah, I also think for me, my MVP of the episode, I think, was Anthony Lynn, the Charger head coach, because obviously I got to give him props for the excellent barbecuing skills he was showing off when he was grilling with his wife earlier in the episode. But the thing that really won me over was his conversation with the team psychologist about how his experience with COVID and how he was basically talking about, like, I woke up one day, I had a cough, feeling achy, and I was watching a PGA Tour event, and the golfer pulled out because he was achy, and then he tested positive, and I got tested, and it made me think about, like, oh, like, this could have been me. I feel like such an outsider when I have it. I can't go anywhere. I want to be a spreader. Like, stuff like that, just, like, so, like, real compared to, like, what we're going through right now.
I totally think, developing and seeing Anthony Lynn's character definitely helps him big time for all NFL fans to really get to know him because, I'll speak for myself. I didn't know much about Anthony Lynn, pre-episode 1. The one thing that you mentioned is barbecuing. Can we get a little new school, though, and get the brush? I mean, his wife is right. Just buy the brush. I mean, you have the money. It's not like that's the issue.
I mean,
get a brush.
I got the brush. I have a grill kit at my house. I always had the brush out there when it's time to put that barbecue sauce on.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's nice and simple. Instead, he's got to get a paper towel, the rubber band. I mean, there's 2 extra steps there.
Yeah.
I'm a little disappointed in Coach when it comes to that.
Yeah, but I did appreciate the knowledge, though, about, like, how he wants to, the slow cooking and everything. He's like, he hates to use the gas, but he'll do it if he has to. He's more of a charcoal guy. That I respected.
Oh, yeah. He lets you know how to do it and how he likes to do it and the right way to do it. So I agree with you there. I thought, for me, my MVP was a guy that I had no idea even existed or played in the NFL. I think you know where I'm going with this.
Yes,
one,
I do.
Right?
I did.
Dante Dion.
Oh, yeah.
I thought he was great. I love the fact that every single season, Hard Knocks is able to find that fringe player that everybody immediately falls in love with. Yeah. And for me, it was just like his overall character, just cracking jokes, just the way he always smiling. It seemed as if though he needed he was there for a good time and wanted to make the team, but he was just a character, and I love that. I really do.
My favorite part is when he's talking about, we've seen now how the locker room is different because they have to space out everybody and how they have to build a secondary locker room. And, like, mostly, like, your rookies, your undrafted guys trying to make a team, they get, like, basically this standing cubicle as their locker. Like, okay, cool. He's like, yeah, we're in the projects. This is functional. This is, like, gets you what you need. But he goes to the real locker room. He's like, I want to get here. I need to know what I need to do to get in this room where I have all this extra space. I have the cushion chair. I can hide stuff under. Like that, I was dying.
Yeah. When he tells everybody that the veterans locker room this is the suburbs.
Yeah.
This is the suburbs, and then he goes to Jalen Ramsey and says, "You see that? He could fit all his cleats. I could barely fit one pair of cleats in my locker." Yeah, that was great. But again, Hard Knocks does a great job every single season of finding that one or two guys that just end up being like great character guys that people want to get to know and root for.
Yeah, indeed. I also want to give a shout out to the narrator of Hard Knocks, Leah Schreiber, who I don't know if you saw online, but like he was doing this from his home. Like he had like his own like bootleg sound booth like set up at his house. He was recording the footage and sending it back to the HBO people. I think he said they finished recording the premiere like narration the day the episode aired. So Really
Yeah,
fascinating.
absolutely insane. And his narration like makes every single episode.
Yeah.
Like, say what you want about what's being filmed, what the players say, like his narration and the way that the story flows, the way that he speaks, his voice. I mean, there's no one better.
Yeah, I remember friends of the
There's
podcast.
nobody.
Friend of the podcast, Ross Greenberg's always laid about Liev Schreiber, and I remember his first line of the season where he's talking about like how teams have to walk the tightrope, and if you look, it's surface level appears normal, you look closer, it's not. Like, really great writing and really great delivery.
No, it's amazing. It doesn't get better than Hard Knocks. I mean, if HBO Sports, between its documentaries and Hard Knocks, I mean, it's phenomenal.
Yeah, I can't wait. We were recording this after episode 1. This should be out before episode 2 does drop. So, what are you looking forward to next week on Hard Knocks?
Again, like you said, it's an interesting and a different dynamic. They can't put on the pads yet, right? So, are we going to see more of the walkthroughs? Are we going to, like I mentioned earlier, are they going to take a couple players and focus that episode on them? How much more could they see, right? Because we've seen the setup of the facilities. One thing that we didn't see, we saw them making the gyms and everything. We didn't really see them working out in the gym. So maybe that could be highlighted. I'd like to see that. But it's definitely it'll definitely be interesting.
Yeah, for me, I'd be interested to see what some of these guys are doing off the field to like keep themselves safe. Or like have a player talk about like, hey, like I have to go to the grocery store, but like this is like I have to be very careful when I go, so I don't contract the disease or something like that. Or like, here's what I'm doing to like stay like it's a sacrifice I have to make. I can't see my family right now. So I want to make sure I stay healthy for the season, keep my family healthy. Stuff like that, I think, is very interesting. I want to see them go into that a little bit.
Absolutely, and stuff like that is very real. Again, we could all relate. We could all relate to that. We've all seen or know people that have been affected.
Yes, we do. Joe, thanks for all the time today. I really appreciate it. Before I let you go, people follow you on social media. Keep up with some of the stuff you're up to.
All right, yeah, of course, Mike. So you can follow me on Twitter at Joe__. Don't forget the _.
Yeah, do not forget. You won't find him.
DALLOISIL.
All right, Joe. Thanks again. I really appreciate it.
Mike, thank you for having me. Can't wait to be back on and breaking down week 1 of the NFL.
You know that's coming.
I can't wait.